Hello, my dears. It's LaShanda Henry here, and today we're going to talk about how you need to get into the habit of besting your best you, making sure that above all else, you are your only real competition. It's LaShanda here, aka Sister Sense, and today what I want to do is to talk to you about the third of 5 real entrepreneur success secrets that you should be trying right now. Hello, hello, hello. Before we go into the start and grow conversation, make sure that you say hello and just kind of let me know who you are. Of course, you can always drop into the comment box and say, hey, 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 if you are catching me on the replay side. Remember to drop into the comment box, #replaysrock, and you can share this out because, of course, sharing is what it's all about. So I've been talking to you about some smart things you can do to work on your success habits, things you can start today, okay? We dived into number 1, understanding your value, preserving your worth. Number 2, we talked about the importance of investing into you. And number 3, today in a big way, we're going to dive into how you can best your own you. No competition, no comparisons when it comes to them, because it's all about you. I'm going to actually share with you, but before I do, I'm going to share a really great story with you guys. Hi, Regina. Hey, Shanita. Welcome, welcome. But before I share this story with you, let's take a minute just to, of course, share this out, because again, that's what it's all about. Sharing is caring. So while I do that, feel free to do the same. So I want to share an interesting story with you that one of the ladies in my circle, Charvette Mitchell, shared. By the way, Charvette is a fellow web designer and mentor coach to other entrepreneurs like myself. I'm a web designer and mentor coach. We've worked together multiple times, which for me is always a reminder that there's enough at the table for all of us. No crabs in a barrel here. You don't need to compete. You don't need to compare. Working with other women is really what it's all about. For me, one of my favorite quotes is each one teach one, and we'll all make it to the top. So anyway, Charvette is one of the amazing Power Circle experts as part of my Back to Business virtual, which, as you know, I've created so that every year I can put you in the circle of ladies invested in helping you grow your business, right? By the way, the motto of Back to Business is the success of your business depends upon the company you keep. So that's important. The company you keep, understanding the importance of collaborations, understanding there is no competition, because reality is, if there is any competition, really your best and only competition needs to be you. Okay, so let's talk about that. A few days ago, Charvette posted this anecdote story of Oprah. And when Oprah started her show, apparently her team, they always used to compare Oprah's ratings to Phil Donahue's, right? So they were trying to get to a spot where they could get to where he was or better, right? So Oprah notes that eventually her team decided, you know what? As opposed to looking at Phil Donahue's ratings, what we're going to do is we are going to compare where we are to where we were. We're going to beat our own ratings. Eventually, Oprah, guess what, had the #1 show, which, as Charvette says, goes to show the moral of the story is focus your energy on your efforts. Who out there, and myself included, because sometimes I got on the army green. Sometimes we got the green-eyed monster. We're looking at other people, especially in this day and age where social media is so big. We're looking at what other people are doing, and we're comparing. Or we are defeating ourselves and deterring or feeling deterred because you're looking at what other people are doing and you're like, I'm not like them. I'm not where they are. What's going on with me? Why can't I be ... And if you want to be your best self, if you've got hopefully you've got an image, by the way, right? For me, visualization is key. Hopefully you've got an image of who you want to be in the future, as opposed to you trying to put yourself up to now in comparison to them or her or him. I need you to understand it's about besting your best you. Take a look at who you are now versus who you want to be in the future and work towards that, right? One of the things that I love to talk about is being in a space where you do something today that your future self will thank you for. Write that down. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Number 2, I want you to understand that her success is not your failure. What she's doing has nothing to do with you. And if it inspires you, amazing. If you want to say yes to, I'm so proud of you, sister girl, is amazing. But if you find that looking at her feels like it's a negative representation of you and what you do, you have to understand that her success is not your failure. Number two. Number three, you cannot compare. And I need you to hear this. You cannot compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. If they've taken several months or several years to get where they are based on their efforts, you can't compare. Number four, you cannot be mad at the results you don't get from the work you didn't do. At the end of the day, I need to make it clear to you that if this person has been doing this thing for several years or several months or what have you, and they've been grinding out and they've been struggling, because you looking at them in their winning season, you don't know what it took to get that to that point. You don't know what they did in their losing season. I need you to hear this. And you are trying to compare yourself to this person. You've got to understand you cannot be mad about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do while you were sitting there feeling unqualified, not ready, not sure. This person put their feet to the floor. They ground out, put skin in the game, did what they needed to do. They cried in the corner and kept on going with patience, present, persistence that had nothing to do with you. So I need you to understand that it's not about comparison with them. It's about you besting your best you. Who do you want to be in the future? Work towards that, girl. So how do you do that? I'm going to share a few questions that I want you to answer right now, whether it be right now where you write these down and you think about it. These are some real truth, real questions that you need to be asking, okay? Just as Oprah needed to, and her team needed to stop comparing their ratings to Phil Donahue's ratings, stop and focus on besting their best. That's how she became the best. You need to just do that too. You need to take that time, right, that you're putting in the effort to focus on them, to focus on you. So question number one, when it comes to that, what are your daily habits? When it comes to your business, what are your daily habits? What are you doing on a regular basis? Like I said, one of my favorite quotes is do something today that your future self will thank you for. What are you consistently doing to work on your vision, your goals, your business, your etc., the things that you want to be in the future, right? So you say your future self is a size whatever. Your future self, what does she look like? What does she act like? What has she accomplished? In order for you to get to her, what do you got to do today? What do your daily habits look like? As I got a few little fuzzies that I need to focus on in my daily. A few little short locks in the front that I need to focus on so my edges is tight and right when I jump on here to share, right? What are some daily habits that you need to focus on? Okay, number one. Number two, morning routines. I'm jumping on this beautiful Saturday morning so I could be here with you, talk to you live, whether you're watching live or via the replay. I got something to say. This is a part of my morning routine, right? I just had my tea and I had a little bit of breakfast. I took the dog out. What are you doing to integrate some form of progress that you're going to utilize to work towards your success? What are you doing to do that in the morning? How are you integrating your top business and goal priorities into your morning routine? Again, do something today that your future self will thank you for, right? What do your daily habits look like? What do your morning routines look like? Where do you feel you're good enough is no longer good enough? And you know just what I'm talking about. When you go, oh, okay, I'll just do this. I'll just put that out there. That's good enough for right now. I just need to know I did something. At what aspects, what parts of your business can you honestly say you're good enough is no longer good enough? You're just do this and that's enough is not enough. Hey, Dawn, welcome, my dear. Welcome, welcome. When are you or where are you in your business ready to say it's time to take things up a notch? It's time to do better. Where do you see that you're stagnant? Where do you see that you're stagnant in your business, in your goals, in your growth? And you're like, man, you know, I was starting good, but things kind of slowed down. I kind of got into a spot where I got comfortable. I got lazy. Where do you feel stagnant? Where do you feel stuck? Sometimes your next level begins where your comfort level ends, where you feel like you're too comfortable and you need to change some things so that you can get to some other places. Where do you feel like not so much you're too comfortable, but you're too impatient? You skipping steps. You're supposed to be doing step 1 through 10, and you're doing 1, 3, 7, 9, and then hoping that 10 is going to get you to where you want to be. You're just skipping parts. Where do you feel like you're skipping steps in your business? You're rushing the process when it comes to the goals. You're not nurturing the growth. You're pushing the growth. And so things aren't quite working the way you want them to because you haven't done steps 1 to 2 to 3 to 10. You aren't doing A to Z. You're doing A and B and maybe a little bit of E. You jumping over a few to go to Q and R, right? Where do you feel you need to work on those things? Because I need to work on little Miss Printerman knocking up my pillows. Why you knocking down the pillows, girl? Now, of course, there are other questions you can ask yourself, but the idea here is that as opposed to you taking the time to compare yourself to other people, you compare yourself to yourself, your future self to your present self. So you can identify what you now need to do to become her in the future. As I mentioned to you, that little Oprah anecdote, as opposed to focusing on her ratings and comparing her ratings to Dr. Phil to see how they can be like him, they decided to see how she could be her best her. Looking at her weekly ratings, working on her ratings, and then in that space, she became number one. You can't become number one when you're looking at everyone else. It has to be an internal conversation. It has to be an internal situation. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you today. This is number 3 of the 5 real success secrets that you can start today. Let today be the day that you stop comparing yourself. Or here's the reality, because we're humans, right? Let me not say stop comparing, because we ain't gonna stop comparing ourselves to other people. But the reality of the situation is we can become more self-aware, so we can check ourselves when we start to compare, slow that down, and focus on besting your best you. You are your only real competition. So get better at figuring out where you need to maximize, where you need to improve, and focus on that. So this weekend, there are a few things that I know that I've been doing pretty well in my business over the last 2 decades. But you know what? There are a couple of things that can be a little bit better. So when I strategically work in my free time on my business, I'm always looking for those aspects that I can improve. And I encourage you to do the same thing too. And for those of you who consider yourself to be go-getters like myself, make sure that you go over to success.com/go-getter, GOGETTER, so that you can take a look at some of the go-getter success tools and solutions that I want to share with you over there. So take a look. Let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at any time over at sizzlesense@gmail.com, or as you're on the sizzlesense.com website, you can always click that gray tab on the right and send me a voice message. All right. So y'all go forth, create amazing. I'll share number 4 and number 5 with you real soon on these success secrets you can do now. Until then, take care. Mwah.